Hey guys, Professor Bill, Comic Book University, and once again, I brought a Chillmonger.
You brought in Chillmonger. Some would say I brought in you.
It's a possibility. How long you had that one running around your head?
No, it's just like the moment you said it, I was like, hey, here I'm gonna come because I always have something to say at the beginning of these podcasts before we
You
start
do.
talking about the comic book movies and the Star Warses.
So what's up? What's on the agenda in this? How many weeks have we not had new comic books coming out?
Might be 5 weeks now.
Something like that. I've lost count. I barely even care anymore.
It won't be 6 weeks though, because DC is getting started. What
Mm,
else? We got
are
comic book
they?
movies that slates have been moved even further away, and some even swapped orders. We've got the big news, which I want to begin with, is going to be Star Wars. We
Okay.
got a new writer who's
Yes.
very problematic, in my opinion, and I want to hear what you got to say about that.
Okay.
If there's enough time, I'm going to try to convince you why Kim Possible should be the next new character in the MCU in Marvel period, but
Okay.
then eventually the MCU,
All right.
because I don't think we got original characters, and we both agreed that Ms. Marvel was an original character, right? Like there's other
Yeah.
people who kind of argue that when we were talking on Discord, and I
Yeah.
wish I wish you had the opposite opinion, but we're both on the same wavelengths with that.
Sorry. Very
All right.
original character. Literally, it's
Well,
like you took a name that's existed before.
hmm.
Sharon. What did I call it before?
Moonstone.
No, no, no. Sharon Carter was her name? No, Sharon Venture, I think it was. Anyway, she was the she thing for a while. Actually, she's still the she thing technically. Like she was called Ms. Marvel. Like
Hmm.
that name's been shuffled around so many times. She's an original character. Carol Danvers is an original character. Come on, man. She took a name. Like powers are different, or origins are different. Everything's different.
And
Like
those are the two things that stick out. It's like where you different powers, different origins. Miles Morales is Peter Parker. He calls himself Spider-Man. He's wears the Spider-Man suit. It's not an original character.
very similar powers. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? In
If
fact,
you're like
same powers plus two extra. You know, something like that.
it was a different spider that bit him, right?
No, it's the same spider that bit him.
Oh, I guess his body just reacts to it differently.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah. Whatever it is. No, that's not an original character. No, not at all. I still love the character. I don't think it's an original character. But
Yeah,
Ms.
we're not
Marvel.
arguing that
How could anybody argue that Ms. Marvel is a new character?
because she
Or
wears the
excuse me,
costume.
is not a different character. Like
The only
she's
arg
very original.
Yeah. So what you would have to say against it is that she has that little lightning bolt on her chest and she calls herself Biz Marvel in honor of her. But her origins are different. Her powers, she got it from inhuman gas,
She was an inhuman.
unlike internet gas. Yeah, she got it from that Terrigen mist. And then
Yes.
and
Well,
Carol,
kind of.
depend
That's not how inhumans work, but yes. The Terrigen Mist activates the inhuman powers. You automatically have 25% Kree DNA in you from the ancients, and then the Terrigen Mist unlocks that. But even if it doesn't unlock it, you're still stronger than other humans and whatnot. Like Karnak never got the Terrigen Mist to activate in him because look what happened to his brother Triton. That dude is ugly, but yeah, he's still ridiculously strong, unlike regular humans and whatnot. But yeah, Carol Danvers got her powers first from the Psyche Magnetron, and then it turned around and it's like, oh no, actually, she's 50% Kree, and I like that one also. I like both of the storylines.
so don't they both work? Carol is
Yeah.
50% Kree because of the Psyche Magnetron thing that exploded back in like the 70s
No,
because of
she's
that.
50% Kree because her mother's Kree, but she didn't know her mother was Kree. And here, the Psyche Magnetron only unlocked her powers when she didn't know that she already had the powers to begin with. That's all.
So not exactly a contradiction, just adding more to the story.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
then
that's
you watch the
well.
film, and she shoots the thing that Jan Rog said not to shoot, and the power core infused with her, and it's his blood in her DNA. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have any problems with it. Honestly, sometimes people just like to argue. Even Riri Williams, who we both agree, right behind you, like she's not an original character, but I still love the character. You know what I'm saying? I don't have any problems with it. But no, Ms. Marvel is an original character. I don't know. I don't know where these arguments are coming from. People fighting because they like to fight, but that's not what we wanted to talk about first.
Let's go. Let's just go to Star Wars. This
Okay.
Leslye Headland woman is an original character. So everything's this is how it goes. I'm reading. I think it was a Deadline article. We got this new Star Wars project coming up. It's
Mhm.
gonna be. This is all we know about Star Wars. We know that there's an Obi-Wan thing coming up. We know that Mandalorian season 2 is coming up, and they're going to be signed on for season 3. Now, there's another woman. Her name is Leslye Headland. She did this show called Russian Doll. She gets a new project. Okay, cool. We don't
She's
know
been
what.
nominated for 13 Eisners.
Awesome. She's accomplished.
Well, yeah.
What else we know about her? She used to work for Harvey Weinstein. She was the personal assistant of Harvey Weinstein. Now, I look for excuses in people. She didn't do anything wrong. Harvey Weinstein did those crimes, which he was convicted of.
Yeah.
But then, everyone knew about Harvey Weinstein. It was worst kept secret in Hollywood. They just kind of turned their attention and looked away. That personal assistant knew about the shenanigans, the ongoings, and maybe she even knows more things than the regular people and what came out in court. She knows.
She might.
How long was she under Harvey Weinstein for?
Well, she worked for Miramax for 6 years, but she was only and that was as a personal assistant for 6 years, but she only worked for Harvey Weinstein as a personal assistant for 1. So I don't know what might have happened to her. Maybe something happened to her too. I don't know. But besides the fact of what I'm sure knew, since it was such an open secret, how do you hold a personal assistant more responsible than the other people around her or other personal assistants? Or how do you say that this person was responsible or not responsible, responsible-ish or whatever? Like we find things to hate in people when what?
I'm not finding something to hate.
I'm not
I wasn't
blaming
searching.
I'm not blaming you.
All right.
I didn't say Chillmonger finds. I said we find things to hate in people who we don't want to like. There are people who don't like Star Wars right now.
Yes.
There are people who don't like women right now. There are people who don't like a lot of that. He's like,
I don't like Star Wars.
Tuesday, if you guys wait till Tuesday to see the video and you see what Chillmonger's like, yes, that's me. No, that's not me. That's just freaking hysterical. Anyway, we know your opinion on things, you freaking misogynist. But anyway.
I'm wearing pink. We're taking it back, fellas.
That's right. Hey, Donald Trump also wore pink ties.
Right on.
But
make comics great again.
Oh, geez, you're done.
Yeah.
What happened now? She was only the personal assistant for a year. It's not even about making excuses for her. It's literally about just looking at it. Hey, maybe she saw what was going on. Was like, can we say something? And somebody just says to her, everybody knows about what he's doing. Who are you going to tell? We all know. And she's like, okay, well, I'm not going to abide by this. I'm going to leave. I'm going to go someplace else. So she went to someplace else in Miramax.
A full year under him?
A full year under him, where she's busting her at, you got to understand, look at the difference between a personal assistant and the guy himself. How much work do we ever think that Harvey Weinstein actually did? And how much is actually delegated to personal assistants?
Probably a lot of the work. That's how rich people operate.
Right? So she was probably always had her nose down and blah, 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 blah. And then all these things started happening and she starts hearing about, I'm pretty sure that Weinstein wasn't banging women in the middle of the freaking movie production, right on scene. It's cut that footage. I doubt that's what was going on. But I'm pretty sure that over a period of time, she saw things happening. She goes and she complained. I don't know. That's the thing. I'm making excuses this way. Other people are making excuses the other way. And I literally look at it as screw all of them. She was there for a year. She was there
a long time.
She was at Miramax for 6.
I think because it's one, we're associating the year with the number 1. It sounds worse. That's 4 seasons. That's 12 different months of her, 52 weeks and weekends where she could find out Harvey Weinstein's up to something. And she was not the whistleblower. She wasn't the one who said, F this Weinstein, guys. I'm going to the proper authorities and we're going to make these changes. That wasn't her.
Lots of people did that. Dude, okay, so is Salma Hayek bad?
Salma Hayek said no, right?
No. Actually, Salma Hayek, whom I love and adore, Salma Hayek was like, I need to get this Frida movie made because I love this character of Frida, and I never seen it, but, it was really important to her. She wanted to get the movie made. Nobody believed in her. Harvey Weinstein, however, she finally said, okay, I'm going to have to get
naked.
I'm going to have to deal with freaking Harvey Weinstein and all the crap that he does, but I need to make this movie.
What do we know she did for Harvey Weinstein? Can you say? If I remember correctly, there were nude scenes that there was no need for nudity scenes, but there were plenty of nude scenes of Salma Hayek in the movie that simply did not need to be there, but Weinstein wanted them.
he would touch on her and she would push him away, and like he would talk to her and try and wine and dine her, and she'd be like no, and she had to really put her foot down with him, but she also needed to get the movie made. Here's the thing, this is a ridiculously powerful man. This is Harvey Weinstein. And while we might look at it as, oh, just say no, how do you look at the information that just came out with that girl Tara? I can't remember her last name, but with the Joe Biden situation, it just came out that her mom did actually talk to Larry King about it and ask his advice and stuff like that, which is huge bombshell evidence, because the only evidence you can really go by is what did people say when it happened. But somehow this guy winds up, and you look at Donald Trump and you look at Kavanaugh and you look at Bill Cosby, you look at all these powerful dudes who never got in any kind of trouble. You know what I'm saying? For what they did. Like, not really, not really. And when they finally did get in trouble, how long did it take?
Hmm.
So I mean, like when push comes to shove, dude. These are people who just they have all the power, and who are you supposed to report it to? You know? And when the people turn around and say, yeah, but Harvey Weinstein makes me a lot of money at Miramax. You know what I'm saying? Maybe, I don't know. Maybe she just looked at it as, I'm not going to sit there and destroy my career when apparently, like, the victims aren't, if the victims aren't going to say anything, why should I say anything? Are they actually victims? Who knows? I don't know. Like, women don't get together and have meetings and talk about, what we're going to do as women's and things like that. Like, not everybody's a feminist and goes to feminist meetings and stuff like that. I literally look at it as, hey, man, from what I can tell, without her saying anything, she was at Miramax for 6 years at the very beginning of her career, you know, and then she was only with Harvey Weinstein for a year out of those 6 years. And then she was no longer with Weinstein. When meanwhile, if she would have stayed with him for the full 6 years, that would have done a lot for her career. Look at Kevin Feige. Look at, he's stuck around with Amy Pascal for all that time as a personal assistant. And, I don't know that she's a B, but I don't know that she's scum like Weinstein was, and look at all the stuff that Feige learned, and look at where he is now. So who knows? Who
Yeah,
knows
that's
the
something I
situation?
heard him say. Even Quesada also said that it's not like we didn't know how to make movies in 2008. We had experience with all these other movies, the good, the bads. So we weren't going in there as rookies when we did Iron Man.
Yeah. So literally, I look at it as I'm not giving her a free pass, but I'm also not going to freaking damn her. I don't know the situation. If somebody wants to do investigative reporting,
Hmm.
cool. But I am not an investigative reporter. All I can do is listen to what comes out and say, cool. And I'm going to be honest. If it turns out that she was complicit in something or whatever, blah, 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 I'm going to be like, I don't feel like watching this show, even if it's a really
Oh
good
shit!
show. And I
What
wonder
if
how
it's
many other people.
what if it's the Ahsoka show?
Oh my God. Well, then I'd probably have to be complicit with, stuff like that. I'm like, come on. Saying like, I don't, honestly, this is to me, like, this is the thing that bugs me. This is news now because places like Bounding Into Comics and Cosmic Book News, known comic gators, saying known people who literally go out of their way to bash anything that a woman will do because they won't sleep with them.
There's
Like,
the
and
200
somehow these are
plus.
the newsmakers right now. Like, you wanted to talk about this because they're talking about this, and I don't see this as news.
It's relevant. Hiring someone to do a Star Wars project is something we would have talked about. The
Did you want
the
to talk about Cassian Andor?
I really don't care about that show though. I don't feel like that character was important enough for me in Rogue One to even care to see on a Disney Plus.
But
Do
it's going to
you?
give a timeline, and Mon Mothma is recast in it. Mon Mothma, who is actually the rebel leader in
Yeah.
Return of the Jedi, which, like, are we actually going to see how all this stuff comes into play now? To me, I think that there's a lot of potential with that. Plus, Rogue One, holy crap, dude, that was a huge, awesome movie. You know?
I'll give it a thumbs up. It was a good movie.
Mhm.
All the characters died, and that character wasn't interesting to me. More so the story and how cool it is that it weaves into the beginning of Star Wars. That was
Yes.
cool, and everything was good about it. Just
Yeah.
not like I wouldn't want to see a show about the guy though.
Well, just the idea of all the people he's going to meet and how the Rebel Alliance was first started, like this could suddenly become a very important character in the Rebel the history of the rebels, when Princess Leia first came in and things like that. We could see a young Princess Leia. Who knows?
It's
You know what I'm
possible.
saying? Like there's a lot that could actually come out of this.
All right, Leslye Headland and her 200 plus deleted tweets. I want to say right now that I have no problem moving forward with anyone who works for Disney or any studio who gets hired and deletes their tweet. I saw what happened to James Gunn. I
Thank you.
saw, you know what I mean?
That's clearly
I
where I was going to go with this.
These tweets have hurt too many celebrities before.
Yeah.
I just think I have an understanding of why you would want to delete your tweets. Plus, by deleting your tweets in a somewhat of a way, you are apologizing for the existence of these statements. You are admitting, they are wrong, or at least admitting you don't want people to
No,
see them.
not true. Have you ever watched Dragon Ball? Not Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball.
Some of it.
Okay. Did you have a problem with the show?
Did I have a problem with the show Dragon Ball? I was too young to have a problem with the show Dragon Ball.
I started watching it with my kids.
Uh-huh.
And I've watched it before and I loved it. And I knew the stuff that was coming up, and I really didn't have too much of a problem with it. I had some of a problem with it, but not too much of a problem with it. My wife, however, never watched it. She heard that there's a cult following behind it. She knows her little brother is like so into anime and stuff like that. We were watching the show, and very quickly you get Goku naked. They show his pee pee. They show him peeing. They
Yeah.
show his entire package. They show his butt. They show him bending down to poo. They show Bulma showing her butt, not realizing that she was naked.
Mhm.
That she didn't have her underwear because Goku took them off. Goku going around grabbing guys and girls to see, like, are you a boy or are you a girl, and stuff like that. Bulma saying, "Hey, I'll let you, touch my panties and get a sneak peek and stuff like that." And my wife just looking at this like, "Babe," and I'm like, "Okay, babe, seriously, this was okay for me when I was a kid. I think it'll be okay for the kids as kids. Okay, it's a different time period. I understand the idea of judging yesterday by today's standards. I get that, but." You also have similar problems. Like she was watching something today. I can't remember what it was. And they said something like they said the B word. They said bitch. And I'm just like, you have a problem with that? She's like, kind of, but not too much. I was like, you see? She's like, yes, I see. So tweets that came out 10 years ago and whatnot wouldn't have been an issue. Who cares? But by today's cancel culture standards, they are. And cancel culture is one of the most ridiculous things in the world. Basically, I'm sorry, I have two favorite sci-fi books in the
Uh-huh.
history of the world. One is Dune, the other one is 1984. And that Orwellian new speak, double speak, you know what I'm saying, where you got the cancel culture, like I'm not, like we're all going to cancel you until you apologize and get back in line with the rest of us. That's not the way it works. And Alyssa Milano can kiss my ass. You know what I'm saying? You either are for women's rights or you're not. Not just because, oh, it helps your party or it doesn't. No, 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 no. And I'm not a right winger. I'm not a left winger. I'm simply a human being who's going to look at things logically, factually, and critically think about what is presented before me. Like I'm the Joe Rogan guy. Like I don't care about your silly politics and your agendas and whatnot. All I care about is I look at, somebody deleting tweets today and I understand because when you got James Gunn putting out tweets that by today's standards by kids who were just eating Tide Pods a couple days ago, saying you're wrong for what you did. Yeah, I guess he's going to have to delete those tweets before the Tide Pods come after him. And I hope that wasn't too much in people's ears. I think my mic is a little too low for me to make that noise again.
I think
So,
you were fine.
cool.
With James Gunn and with Kevin Hart, I have a friend who I was talking to about Kevin Hart,
Mhm.
and I do understand that he hasn't suffered enough. We're not letting him slide. We're gonna hold him to the fire for a little bit longer until we get the proper apology. I got vibes from him when he was explaining that. That's the cancel culture thing. But before I get back to cancel culture, James Gunn, his tweets were there was like 12 of them that I found. And within that 2-year time period, he did cross the line for me. He did say too much. It would be like a hashtag that's trending. And when those hashtags are trending, you're like, how do I get on the joke? And for some reason, sometimes his jokes were the inappropriate ones about kids. I think that he had too many of those. I mean, we don't see the rest, right? We don't see the normal ones that are perfectly in good taste and just, a little bit funny. All I seen was the ones that he would talk about effing a boy with a tree and just putting in boy anytime he felt like replace a movie title with the word blank, and then he would go ahead and do that. Too much for me. I'm not okay with what James Gunn had to say, and I don't think that way. So the fact that he did is kind of weird. So I'm not team James Gunn. However, I don't think he should have been fired also, because once you hire the guy, just fire him for something he did while he was under your payroll. Don't fire him for something he did years and years ago. But with cancel culture, if cancel culture is I disapprove of something from you, so I will not give you my money, I'm perfectly okay with that.
Oh yeah, that's perfectly
But if
fine.
it's to mobilize the forces and start a hashtag and say get rid of him, I mean, you got every right to do, huh?
No, that's cancel culture, where you're going around and you're trying to exacerbate something, and it's like, come on, man. If you want to do something, fine. Like you want to mobilize, fine. You want to get the freaking Femda group or whatever, groups are together, fine. I don't know what Femda is. I just made it up. Like you do a group, whatever, that's fine. But like when you're getting together and you see that it's hypocritical, at some point, I feel like there should be groups together to destroy those groups. Like this is social media. It's judging things. For crying out loud, has everybody quit listening to rap at this point?
Bro, we need to.
We need to stop listening to rap? Why?
Why? Because of the language, and because it keeps the heart. CPR, when you're giving compressions to the chest, no one would say the N-word right now. We wouldn't have cases where Kendrick Lamar has a fan come on the stage.
Wow, look behind you.
I saw. We wouldn't have cases like where Kendrick Lamar introduces his fans and say, hey, go rap the song lyrics with me. She says a word she's not supposed to say. Uh-oh. Like, why do you think she says that? Why do you think white people say it? When I'm in settings with some of my white friends, they'll say the word, realize they say the word, and I'm like, I'm not going to make this a scene, but you should not have said the word. Why is that even in their vocabulary of the Rolodex of words? Because it's still in the music. Unlike, I know you grew up in a black neighborhood, so I'm sure the word was in your
black neighborhoods. Oh yeah, it is. I used to say it, and it was accepted. Saying.
But then when I went outside of,
oh no, exactly. But when I went outside of my setting, outside of my group of people, my friends, I would say it, and it's like they don't know me, and it's like, hey, how dare you? And it's like, oh shoot, wait, what did I say? And I didn't understand. So I just figured I'm just going to stop saying the word. But it is hard when you constantly have the word being said around you. When you have it in the I loved NWA. I can't sing NWA. I got to replace the N word with sucker or brother, depending on saying the use of the term. I'm saying, and it doesn't sound good sometimes. It doesn't sound good. I can keep the flow, but
it's so.
But at the end of the day, that's the thing. How about also the F word, the homophobic slur?
I got that. Yeah,
that's still used to this day. You know what I'm saying? Like people attacking Eminem and Tech Nine and all these other rappers for saying this stuff. But this is a part of the thing. So like here's the thing. Do you just stop it? Do you start doing it again? Like do you, all those songs that I understand the idea. Like yes, we should stop saying that word now. But the word was used back then. It was something that probably shouldn't have been said. Well, definitely should have been said by today's standards. But back in the day, that's all we used to talk about. The media, everything. It used to be the idea of no, gay is bad. Gay is a choice. Gay is something you should never do. And today I understand a whole lot better. But back in the day, that's what we were brought up on. That's what we knew. So that's what people rapped about. That's what was around, calling each other, F words and insulting gay people and whatnot. It was, by today's standards, by today's understanding, it's wrong. Back then, yes, it is wrong. But do we just delete those songs now? Do we just erase that entire portion of our history? I don't think that we do. I think we look back on it and we say, huh. Because we can't, this goes back to the idea. Do we cancel Mark Twain?
I don't know who that is. Is he a comedian?
Oh, wow. Yeah, well, he's funny, but he's not a comedian. He's a writer. He wrote Tom Sawyer and Huckleberry Finn.
Oh.
And I think that it was like 64 times or more, whatever, that he had the N-word in there.
Why did he have it in there? Was it a story of the 40s, or was it a story of racist people in southern states?
Huckleberry Finn was a story. It was Tom Sawyer's best friend, and he went off and he he and an escaped slave, a runaway slave, go off and get away and whatnot. But like the N word is used a lot of times and whatnot, and it's basically just a young white boy, Huckleberry Finn, becoming friends with an escaped slave, and they're cool and whatnot. But like it was used, the word is used, and
Okay.
Mark Twain, I think his real name is, I can't remember his real name, Clarence something. I don't remember. Anyway, he went by lots of pen names, pseudonyms. But Mark Twain, yeah, he's considered America's #1 author ever, because they're Shakespeare, but he's English, and so on and so forth. But bang, right there, Mark Twain, the great American author. And
Mhm.
by today's standards, even by like 10 years ago, 20 years ago standards, I think people are like, should we just not use that book anymore? Should we just cancel that book because it's got the N word in it?
No, I'm okay with that book still being written even
So
10
are you
years
o-
from now.
so are you okay with rap music then?
I'm not okay with white people feeling comfortable and this entering them through
Hmm.
media, through entertainment, and then all of a sudden they'll say it in these situations like the Kendrick Lamar thing I brought up. That's what I was trying to get at. But if
Hmm.
you're talking about the times and you're speaking the way they spoke in the times, you're just being accurate. But if you're doing it now, these white people wouldn't know the word. A lot of them wouldn't know the words
They
outside
would
of their
know the word.
neighborhoods.
They
Well,
would
they
know.
get it from their parents, I'm sure.
Yeah, parents, parents of friends, and
Mm,
their own version of TV, social media. It's all over the place.
mm.
It's all over the place.
But it wouldn't be in the music though.
I
Cancel rap
guess.
music. How did we get here? From cancel
Wow.
culture?
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
you
I
want
don't
to
know,
talk
like,
comics or something?
and here's the thing. Well, sure, but at the end of the day, like, here's the way I look at it.
Mm.
At heart, I am still a philosopher. I look at the world as there are very few things in this world that are necessarily right or wrong. Most of us can agree that Nazis are wrong. That's usually why, Gottlieb's law. Every conversation that you have will eventually go back to Nazis and, Hitler and so on and so forth, because that's one of the few things that most intelligent, sentient beings can acknowledge that was wrong. Slavery was wrong, saying things like that. But even then, well, slavery, no, slavery was wrong, saying, but
Cockroaches are native to Western Africa. The way that they came from there to here is them slave ships.
son of a gun,
It's another reason to hate that shit.
son of a gun.
Mm.
But yeah, at the end of the day, like to me, it's like there are people who will make excuses for American slavery because slavery was worse in Brazil. The life
Oh,
expectancy of a slave was worse there. So that gives you a pass. Like that's the thing. It's just the idea of, like, to me, it's a conversation, and just have the conversation. Don't be afraid to say what needs to be said, as long as everybody around there is of a mind to actually have, like you and I, being willing to actually have a conversation and being able to discuss the sensitive topics and whatnot. At the end of the day, like, back to this Headley chick, it is what it is, man. You know what I'm saying? She worked for Weinstein for a year. She worked in that business, or that for that company that Weinstein belonged to, Miramax, for 6. So I don't know. If you're going to take 1/6 of her, or what would it be? 1/20th, 1/17th, I think it is. Anyway, just whatever it is, 1/16th or 1/6 of her life, in this one particular business. Forget about how old she is. It's like 1 year out of a person's life working for somebody who we understand today finally was a monster. I don't know, man. That just seems like a big
well,
stretch.
no, that's the thing. We do understand that today, and we hired her today. If I'm
Mhm.
looking at resumes and I'm like, let's see who we got here. Someone to do Star Wars. First of all, I'm not even looking at resumes. It's just Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau who I'm going to first. But let's pretend they said no. I'm like, okay, we got Taika Waititi, we got Kevin Feige, we've got all these names. We're gonna go new. It says here she worked under Harvey Weinstein for a year. We'll put that in the maybe pile. Let's go on to the next person. I would never hired that person. Would you have hired Leslye Headland last week before we even knew she got the job? Would you have hired this person and gave them a look if you saw worked under Harvey Weinstein?
This is a yes or no answer. I don't give yes or no answers. Um, I usually don't. I would have had a conversation with her. Listen,
Are Nazis bad?
Okay, yes, but that's Gottlieb's law. Like I said, I most of the times won't give a yes or no answer. But with her, I'd sit down and be like, okay, listen, Disney, big deal. You know, Walt Disney was a known racist. No excuse for this dude. But we're not going to change the name of Disney to, Fluffaloni or something. You know what I'm saying? We're going to keep on calling it Disney, and we simply have to acknowledge that Walt Disney was a known racist. Do we stop reading freaking H.P. Lovecraft because Howard Philip Lovecraft, who wrote the Necronomicon and all these, well, he talked about the Necronomicon and all these amazing Cthulhu mythos stories. He created Cthulhu and all of them. He was a known racist. He had a dog, a black dog that he called the N-word. That was the name of his dog. Do we just simply say, hey? Or do we also look at the idea that, where he grew up, the times and all the stuff and the idea that where he grew up in Maine and everything like that? Like, what do we look at?
I dropped Hulk Hogan for that reason. I found out in 2005 that's the
Mhm.
way he speaks. Okay, I'm not gonna like you.
He was in the middle of like a really bad time in his life. He was
Hmm.
angry. He wanted
Hmm.
to hurt someone. We can go by the Chris Rock theory. If you're really mad at somebody, you can say whatever you got to say to hurt that person because you're angry.
Right. So when I'm really mad and upset, my racist doesn't just start acting up. Like I like to put myself in other people's scenarios. And then plus when you heard the wisdom behind his hatred, he didn't just say a bad word where he wasn't supposed to say it and leave it at that. I actually got to hear him explain it to the woman about how, 8 foot, okay. Everyone has racism inside of them. And I just listened to the whole thing. He gave me the 3-point essay
He
with
who?
the huh?
He who?
Terry Bollea, Hulk
Oh, you're
Hogan.
talking about the Hulk. Okay.
Yeah.
8 foot? What?
Well, if you read it, I don't want to
Okay.
repeat the words, but it was bad. It wasn't just like he said a 6-letter word once. He actually
Uh,
got into his hatred towards it. And then when you see his apology, he was apologizing for later on. For he said, "When I see Lil Wayne, that's the way we greet each other. We'll say the word. It's like friendly." I'm like, "You did not say that word. You're not even apologizing for the right thing." I'm over with with Hulk Hogan.
I
I'm kind of
guess.
done with it. I can still watch a past match. I can watch Chris Benoit matches. I'm good with that. Like the
Eh.
character is fine, but like the person, I don't know. I'm done with it. So I don't know why I
I
brought him
I
up.
look
What?
at all the friend. I don't know. I look at all the friends around him who have
Uh huh.
always said, "No, I've never known Hulk Hogan to be a racist
Yeah,
before."
but and they're
Even
being
people who, even
stupid.
people who hate him,
Yeah.
even people who hate him, saying, "No, I've never seen him to be a racist before."
Okay. Okay.
Like,
It's good to be in good lines with the company, so I can see their motivations for not being
no,
anti Hulk Hogan.
people who hate Hulk Hogan, who are just like, "I can't stand Hulk Hogan, screw him, whatever, blah blah blah." But I've never known him to be a racist. That
Like
I don't
who?
know.
Like who?
I
And I'll
I
tell
can't
you if
I can't remember. It was a while ago. But yeah, generally people who Bret the Hitman Hart was actually one of them. He's like, I'm not a fan of Hulk Hogan. He's always been in business for himself. I lost the title to Yokozuna just so he could win it. Like, I don't like the idea of being an intermediary. Like, that's just ridiculous. But then he's also said, yeah, no, I've never, ever thought of Hulk Hogan as a racist. He's never said anything racist to me, around me, in front of
okay.
me. Nobody's ever come to me and said, so.
Yes, but so what? I saw what it's like when there's a hidden camera, as wrong as it is, Gawker, as
Mhm,
wrong as it is that he had a hidden camera on him. I get it, it was wrong.
mhm.
But I had access to that and I got to see who he is when he's not in the public eye. So yes, he
It's a
didn't say those things to you in public,
good
Booker
thing that
T,
we can't
huh?
read each other's minds, right?
Because
It's a
I think of racist things.
no. What about if you look at a woman and you say, like, in your mind, like, oh my God, the things I would do to her.
Okay.
What if
I
all of a
look
sudden
at
that came
women
out?
and do think things like that.
Okay, right away. So there are plenty of women out there who could just say, well, you're canceled. You know what I'm
Good.
saying?
Okay,
Don't admit to
good.
stuff like that.
But
But the idea is,
I'll be
yeah,
honest about my
but
interest in women.
But
Huh?
that's the thing. There are thoughts that we have. What about if you get an image in your head also? And please don't elaborate on this stuff. But like, what if you get an image in your head of, like you with that woman, and like, oh my God, and you picture her naked. You're like, I wonder what she looks like naked. So just there are so many different aspects of our own personal private thoughts. And here was this person who was at the worst moment of his life and just boom, and he just said something he wanted to hurt somebody, and he was egged on, for it. So I hear you. You're not wrong. You know what I'm saying? I see it as a bigger picture, and for me, like I said, it's just a conversation. To me, it's just a conversation. And likewise with the Headley girl, woman.
Leslye Headland.
Leslye Headland. I look at it as, if it's me, I would have sat down and said, okay, so it looks like in your past. That's the thing. We got to sit here and vet people, like we're vetting people for the vice president seat, for crying out loud. Like Donald Trump can be in office. Freaking Joe Biden would served all this time, never actually served the people. You know what I'm saying? And what he did to this one woman who came forward. Look at the Supreme Court right now. You know what I'm saying, with Kavanaugh. Look at all these people who've done all these big things that we're talking about, and now all of a sudden we've got to look at regular workers, and they have to be vetted. Like this is the world that we live in, and I hate this aspect of the world. But if we had to do that, hey, Leslye, you worked for him for 1 year. What was the story? Because we apparently have to get ahead of this, because just in case, and we have to say, yes, she worked for him, for such and such, but here's the answer for it, and hopefully you're okay with it, and we believe in her now, and all of a sudden the violent, or the anger comes back, and it's a shockwave. What, you mean you're admitting that she did such and such? Oh well, and then it's just like, you're right, so we're going to separate from her. Can we just make a goddamn movie? Like, she worked for a monster for a year. Say we can't look at one moment. This is something that Joe Rogan says also. Okay,
1 year. It's not a moment.
this is, how many moments did she know that he was like this?
I'm sure there were enough in that year.
You're sure, because you can see the future, you can see the past. You're a clairvoyant. Like, I'm not.
But I'm not
I literally
oblivious.
look at what Joe Rogan says, and this is something that I agree with also. If we dig deep enough, we can find some monstrous moment, at least one, in every single human being on the face of the planet. For crying out loud, I could tell you stuff I read about Mother Teresa that you would, make you say, whoa, for real? And so do we cancel her? like what is it at this point where we're looking for the absolute worst in people instead of looking for the best in people? Or let's just take off our evil pants and our shiny rose-colored glasses and just look at who people are today, and hope that they've grown from then, and hope that they understand. Like, we're putting people on trial on social media. I can understand looking at someone saying, okay, so Leslye, you've been working for Disney for 3 years now, and as it turns out, you molested somebody. Hey, it also turns out in your history that you've worked for Harvey Weinstein for a year. Why don't you tell me about that year right now? Then I could see you pulling it out. But for now, it's like, she worked for this guy for a lousy year. She's not, she didn't do these things. She didn't go, and we don't have any, information that she went and found these women and pulled them in. I mean, like, there's denial. There's, okay, what do I do? Okay, everybody knew. I don't know. I honestly don't know what it is. But I'm not here to just start canceling people because somebody else says, but she's bad, and if you don't cancel her too, then you're bad also. I'll be bad for them. But I'm okay with it.
So the absence of evidence is not the evidence of absence. Just because I don't know what she saw in that year, it doesn't mean that I'm that gullible just to believe, she was the good one working under Harvey Weinstein. I'm so certain, the world that I live in, that she overlooked, she pardoned, or she forgave, or tried not to be bad towards Harvey Weinstein in that full 365 days. Since you like to call it a year, I'm going to extend that. And she came to work every day, week after week, and she saw some stuff that Harvey Weinstein did. We agree to disagree. I mean, it's been 38 minutes.
Or you know for a fact she saw some things that he did.
I can't say that I know for a fact, but the world I live in, I'm sure.
So let's look at it this way. So what's the next step?
I'm sure.
So what's the next step?
I just wouldn't have hired her. What do you mean, what's the next step?
You wouldn't have hired her. Bottom line, you wouldn't have hired her.
Unless she was the whistleblower, that's different. But since she's the woman who was just complacent the whole time.
What if all of a sudden it comes out that, like, I'm talking about you. I'm not talking about if you're in charge. I'm not talking about if you're in charge. No, you're you. Hey, what's going on, Chillmonger? So what is your opinion of how we move forward right now?
I don't really have a how do we move forward.
Damn,
that's wouldn't have got her.
Because to me, moving forward isn't making silly articles about she did such and such, like bounding into comics and
those are not silly articles. Those are reporting true statements. This person.
Well, here's the thing. Okay, I'll admit where I'm wrong here. I didn't actually read or watch those videos or articles or anything like that. But what I am saying is, bring attention to it, talk about it, make the conversation, and then demand to know what happened in here.
Okay, yeah, that's the next step. Then we gotta
There,
wait. Cool.
maybe that's the thing, and actually find out the evidence. Have her answer,
yeah.
not for her crimes, but for her association with this person. If she says, listen, I'm going to be honest with you, I didn't find out about this stuff until 6 months later, but then there's going to be people who are going to hate her and be like, no, that's bullshit. She definitely knew about it before. Like,
Yeah.
we're making people defend themselves against crimes that we're never going to forgive them for anyway. So what's the point at some point? Because when it starts to get so ridiculous, and I do believe this is one of the right now, the lack of information that we have is so ridiculous that we start making people account for every single moment of their lives.
So what's the point? The point is we should have never hired her in the first place. We were wrong for getting a woman who worked under Harvey Weinstein, especially the year after he went to jail. Like, he was just sentenced a few months ago.
How many men have worked for Harvey Weinstein?
Them guys who kept a blind eye, they're just as bad, and I wouldn't have hired them either.
Give me one of their names.
I don't know, because they haven't been hired for something. I don't know any of their names. Do you know anyone's name?
No, I just found out about this when you brought it up to me, so I haven't had time to look into it. But that's the thing. What about, so she's the only personal assistant he's ever had?
I'm sure he's had more, and I wouldn't have hired them guys either. I'm consistent with my disliking.
But this is the only one that
like
we're
you said,
talking about.
wait, like you said, where do we go moving forward? A week from now, I doubt Leslye Headland will put out a statement, or Disney will put out a statement explaining what her relationship was like with Harvey Weinstein. They're gonna keep this hush hush. Hopefully, you're watching the news and not.
Is it hush hush to not want to be burdened with that stuff?
Okay, fine. We'll see if they do, and we'll talk about it next week's podcast.
If she doesn't want to talk about it, maybe it's something that was hurtful for her. You know what I'm saying? Maybe it's something that was hurtful for her. At the end of the day, like, look, we're not doing a witch hunt. That's the thing.
It's not a witch hunt. I wasn't going with my flashlight.
It's not a witch hunt, and that's the problem. We're looking at one person and saying, bad, 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 as opposed to saying, you know what? Let's find all of the people who have ever been a personal assistant for Harvey Weinstein and go around and systematically fire every one of them, or ask every one of them, grill every one, make them defend themselves. Make sure no one who's ever worked for Harvey, if you've ever worked for Harvey Weinstein before, disqualifying, that's it, you're done with the business. This is cancel culture. That's what this inevitably leads to. And this is what we have to try and avoid. We don't know anything about this except Wikipedia says, and other people are talking about. And it's like, dude, come on, man. like I could turn around next week if it comes out that she was holding women down while this was happening. Oh, fire her ass. You know what I'm saying? But like don't hire her just because so that's it. She's done. She can never work again. We're going to ruin this person's life. She can't work in Walmart. That's what you're arguing. Because what's the difference between Walmart and making a movie?
Disney's the place that fired James Gunn over some tweets.
So you're avoiding my question.
Okay, ask the question again.
Taking a thought to its logical conclusion, is she ever allowed to work at Walmart?
I don't think Walmart has the same standards as Disney. I'm not saying she should never work at Walmart.
We're finding out a lot about you right now, Chill, and I really wish that you would think about your answers before you said it, because this is really damning to me.
Yes, she can work at Walmart is the answer to the question.
But then why can't she work in a movie? Can she be an actress in a movie? I'm trying to find your red line. I'm trying to find your line in the sand.
Okay, let me answer. The red line in the sand was drawn by Disney with their past actions, firing James Gunn, and let me think of other things that what.
Okay, so she shouldn't be hired by Disney. So should she be hired by Paramount?
I'm okay with Paramount or any other movie company, as I don't know anything that Paramount has done or that Universal or Warner Brothers have done. I know what Disney has done. And by the standard, the precedent that was set by Disney in their past, they wouldn't have gotten this woman. They shouldn't have gotten this woman. But based on what they're like with Hawkeye and his whole deal, Jeremy Renner is going through a divorce. She's claiming that he was bad. I don't believe these claims. I also don't not believe these claims. You know, I was
okay. Thank you.
But like, because of that, I believe Hawkeye's being delayed. They just want to let the court thing play out. You
Yeah,
feel me?
what's the court going to do as opposed to, hey, dude, what happened? You know what I'm saying? People actually finding out because regular people can go and ask, reporters can go and ask, hey, what's the deal with um what's his name? Johnny Depp and Amber Heard and things like this. You know what I'm saying? Like, here's the thing. Disney is the most powerful business corporate entity one of the most powerful in the world right now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So because they fired James Gunn, they should not hire like this woman has to
Yes.
suffer
Yes.
because of
Because
that.
of things they've done in the past, I'm going to
What
hold them to that.
what about if instead we held Disney to the instead of hurting because the only person we're hurting is this woman. How about instead we turn around and say, "Hey Disney, I think you should just apologize for firing James Gunn. Hey Disney, I think you should just be honest about, bang 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 bang. You never should have fired him in the first place. Hey, how's it going to feel when Suicide Squad comes out?" You know what I'm saying? Like to me, this is just this is an ethics class. This is what happens in an ethics class.
What do you mean by how you going to feel when Suicide Squad comes out?
Suicide Squad came out because the only reason why James Gunn made Suicide Squad was because he was fired by
Oh,
Disney.
okay.
So and then he comes back and then they suddenly find out, well, we didn't know that he made Suicide Squad while he was away. Well, what do you think he was going to do? Sit on his laurels, not work? You know what I'm saying? Like at the end, this is what I'm saying. They never should have answered to Disney. Never should have answered to cancel culture in the first place. You know what I'm saying? And this woman shouldn't be made to suffer just because they made James Gunn suffer also.
I think they learned from that mistake, That we got rid of James Gunn.
I
All
don't
of a
think
sudden, he
anybody
was
learned from
signed.
anything in the
He,
corporate industries.
let me get to where they learned. They got rid of James Gunn immediately. And
Uh-huh.
then Suicide Squad, he gets signed to do the sequel of it. And they're like, shoot, he's going to be making a Superman. He's going to be making all these things. Plus, the fans aren't even that mad. Okay, cool. We're going to re sign him back. Next time, we're going to wait. We're not going to react immediately. And that's why Jeremy Renner's Hawkeye project isn't being canceled right away. They're like, we're going to sit on this and wait on it. Let the court play out. And if he's convicted of anything wrong and there's wrongdoing, boom. But if he's not, we get to say he was judged by a group of peers, and they'll live with it because they know that he didn't do anything wrong according to a court. So they did learn from it.
Let's have even more fun with this.
No,
Because at
I
the
want
end
to
of
wait before you go there. I
Go ahead.
want to agree with you. We
Uh-huh.
got to bring Disney's standards and ethics, and we're better than everything back down to normal. But I am judging it by these high standards. Go ahead.
I look at it this way. The only people who aren't being judged right now are the people who are doing the most judgment. And that's these right-wing psychopaths doing like bounding into comics, cosmic book news, and the comicsgate industry, if you can even call it that. The comicsgate goofballs, who hate women because women won't sleep with them because they're so toxic. These people. These are the people right now who are just like, we're going to start up this controversy. Meanwhile, they're okay with, the people who they like doing these things. They don't care, but they're like, you're all like this. And mind you, a lot of those people are hardline Christians. I've got nothing against Christianity, but what I do have a problem with is hypocrisy. And when I see people who claim to be hardline Christians who they're just like, I don't like that you're telling me that I'm a hypocrite in my religion because I do this and I do that. That's between me and God. These are the same people who are so often like, I don't like that you're doing, and that's against my religion. Some of the things you do are against your religion. Don't talk about that. Don't judge me. It's like this is what I see. This is what I see. And this is not to come down hard on these kinds of Christians. This is to come down hard on anybody who's like that. And this is one of the tactics I always see on the side of the right wing. They get all these the people they hate so much, the SJWs, right? They get the SJWs to go after freaking, whoever, and they sit in the background like, I don't care. I'll have all the rapists in the world on my side. Look at who's the one guy that was accused of all this rape and whatnot on their side? He's a writer. Was it a Magnola, something like that? Manoli? I don't remember this guy's name, but he's some kind of an artist or something like that. And he's in comic books. Someplace Hamilton, someplace I don't remember this freaking guy's name. Anyway, yeah, like you know what I'm saying? He's accused of all sorts of, what do you call it? Molestation charges or whatever. And literally they defend him to the end of the earth. No, he's a good guy. He's a good guy.
Because
Oh,
he's
but
on the team.
Exactly, because he's on the team, and that's what this is. Meanwhile, they're laughing at everybody else, on the far left side or in the centrist. It's mostly in the centrist side, but whatever. It's everybody else. It's literally the right playing everybody else against each other, and they're sitting back like, I don't see what the problem is. We're totally okay with this. You know what I'm saying? They just love to see everybody else fight. That's the news. That, to me, that's the real news here.
Okay, I can see based on what channel I go to or whoever's doing the commentary or the writing, I know the bias. A woman exists, therefore I gotta look for reasons to hate them.
Yeah.
I'm saying one of those reasons that they found to look to hate for them, the whole Harvey Weinstein, a personal assistant, is valid. I know their intentions. They're just like, it says here that it's going to be a women-centric film or project. It wouldn't say it was a Disney Plus.
If Harvey Weinstein was an avowed Trump supporter, do you think that would have happened?
No, that would complicate the issue.
So excuse me, allow me to flush this down the toilet. What else do we have that's we just spent 50 minutes talking about this nonsense.
And I hope it was entertaining, everyone.
I really do hope it was.
I thought it was. It was a good talk.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. What else do we have?
Shoot. You want to see, tell me about Boom and tell me about DC and tell me about Marvel Comics, my friend.
Okay. Marvel Comics does not have a handle on what they're going to release right now. They're still releasing some free stuff here and there. But they're already saying that they're not going to release anything digitally or otherwise for the 29th of April. So we don't know when they're actually going to release anything, when they're actually going to be able to, start putting stuff out. Physical, digital, whatever, because they do still want to work with the local comic book stores, and that's awesome. I'm really happy to hear that. DC Comics, however, is right now being led by Jim Lee, who's just like, I'm going to draw 60 pictures in 60 days, and then I'm going to sell them to the comic book stores. Oh, and I'm going to take, those Walmart exclusive comic books that I put out. I'm going to now take. I don't know why I'm making him have a Mike Tyson voice.
Keep making it.
I'm going to take these Walmart books that the comic book stores hated because they excluded comic book stores and they benefited Walmart, the most ridiculous company in the face of the world, literally the largest non-online retail, the largest physical location retailers ever. I'm going to help these guys out. And I'm going to screw over the comic book stores. I'm going to give Walmart exclusives, and I'm going to take little stories from here, and I'm going to call them digital firsts. But really, they already came out. Mm-hmm. Many people have already bought these comic books. So then they release them because the only one that I bought was, you got me, Jim Lee. I'm a sucker. I bought the Aquaman one. I did a review of it, and I'm sitting here looking at this freaking comic book, and I'm just like, dude, I've read this story before. And I'm like, maybe I just seen the previews for it. So I get all the way to the end. I was like, I know how this is going to end. And boom, I'm like, what the frig? So I'm sitting here like, do I have the greatest power in the history of the world? Because let's be realistic. All right. It's one thing to have the ability to fly or be bulletproof or turn invisible or teleport or, whatever. Maybe have claws and a healing factor. And, but to have comic book prescience, that's what I'm talking about. That's a power I can get behind. All right. Yeah. I don't have to pay for comic books anymore. I just know everything that's going to happen in the comic book before I even say. I just look at a comic book and say, that was a good comic book. This just came out. You've never read it before, haven't I? That's the greatest power ever.
So what that showed was that these DC Walmart exclusives were actually for a different audience. It was to get people into comic books who weren't at comic book stores. Which is why they were at Walmart. Did they also place them at a Walmart, like right where you line up to get in and pay? Like that's where they placed them, wasn't it?
Oh, I don't know, because that was just in America, and I haven't been to America for them.
Okay, that's irrelevant. But like the fact that these were retellings of stories you already knew.
No. That's not what it was. They were brand new stories.
They weren't retelling?
No. These were these 100-page spectaculars. For Batman, Superman, Swamp Thing, Aquaman. They were released for the very first time to Walmart in America exclusively. Now they're taking some of those individual stories that were in there and selling them online, like on Comixology, for 99 cents for each 15, 16-page story. So it's like, wow, that's all you're doing. Meanwhile, they're available up here in Canada at the comic book stores. They actually did it right here because Canada Walmart and American Walmart, technically owned by the same people, but technically not the same. You can't use a rebate in one and apply it to another, to over the border. Saying one direction or the other. A warranty that you buy here doesn't work in
Yes,
here. So
we've all heard your
completely
Best
different.
Buy story.
Oh,
Yes.
you have? Okay,
Yeah.
sorry. Anyway, what do you call it? So throwing me
So
off
I
my
was wrong.
fucking game here.
I misheard you.
No worries.
I
So
get it
these
though.
these were specifically to the Walmarts. No, this was
Yeah.
first time ever. Now, what I could have gotten behind that they did with the Walmart stories is take comic books that have already been out, take anthology comic books that are together, and then chop them up, and then say, "Oh, we're going to release these to Walmart also, as an anthology, even though they've actually been over here in the regular comic books, or put the barcode on them, or we already got barcodes on them in the comic book store now, but release them over here in Walmart also. Why do they have to be exclusives to Walmart?
Yeah, they don't need to be exclusive to
Mhm.
Walmart. But Walmart customers, these new people, they don't know a new story from an old story. Why does
Exactly.
that matter? Plus, I disagree with them being 100 pages long.
Whatever. I could care less one way or the other. To me,
If you're trying to make a new fan of the comic book genre,
uh-huh.
why would you give them something so daunting? Give them those 20 page stories at stores, and they're more likely to spend a little bit of money than they are to spend a lot of bit of money on something they've never tried before. But if they see
Possibly.
it,
Possibly. If
that's
you have
not
a
possible.
hundred
That's
page,
true.
maybe
People are most likely to spend less money than more money. That's universal.
that's not true. It's depending on what they're going to get. If they see $4, $3.99 for a little 22 page comic book, but here's 100 pages for $10, $9.99. What I'm saying? They might look at it and say, you know what, Superman, let me try it. Let me give it a shot.
I don't
You know
think
what I'm
that
saying?
way. I think if it's something I've never tried before,
Hmm.
the risk is $10 risk or $4 risk. I'm rolling with the $4 risk. I would even discount the prices too. I would
I
even
guess.
oh,
Then why do people shop at Walmart? Or excuse me, why do people shop at bulk stores like Costco's?
to get more for their dollar.
Ah, you see, and that's
But
my argument
but
about
that's
the
not the
giant
first
size
time I'm
projector.
buying ketchup or toilet paper. That's not the first time. That's a known thing that I know and I've lived and grown up using. And there I went to Costco to get them in bulk. This is something I've never tried before, a comic book. I'm not going
Mm.
to be like, gotta get that bulk comic book. Ooh, look at all these pages for the price. It's worth it. Nah, first time ever.
I think everybody knows comic books, and with the movies out there, it's just like, you know what? Let me try one of these Superman. I like the Superman movie. Let me try a Superman comic book.
But everyone knows girls, but it's but you gotta pop your cherry. You feel me? Like everyone knows comic book movies and these
I'm
characters
not
and
feeling you
everything.
right now. I don't know what this. I don't know where you're going with this,
Yeah,
man.
I'll bring it back to comics. It's just
Please do.
to make that purchase for that physical and looking at the pictures of it. You've never done that before. Make it as easier and low as a risk for me to do that. Once you get me in, if I enjoy the act of doing this, maybe I'll go to the comic book store. The idea is to make new fans. I don't think 100 pages is how you make new fans.
Whatever. To me, this is a moot point. I look
Okay.
at it as you don't need to put exclusives there. You know why you do that? To get people who, because you put it out, for the people who do go to comic book stores, say, hey, this is exclusive to Walmart. Because the people who really bought that are people who would rather go to a comic book store. Now you're making me go to Walmart, and that's why I boycotted them. I went cancel culture on them. No, I just did a personal boycott. I said
Yeah.
I'm not interested in buying these. Um, but that's who they were really selling to, the people who already buy the comic books. It's like Brian Michael Bendis is going to write Batman finally. Tom King is going to be writing. They literally switched the Batman and the Superman writer. They switched them, and they're
Mhm.
writing each other's comic books. Ooh, Orlando is doing the. I don't like G. Willow Wilson on Wonder Woman right now. Now he's over here writing this, and oh man, this guy's writing Aquaman. I want to check these things out. I got to get them. What if there's a first appearance in there or something? So you got to go and get them. This first time on Walmart. Got to get them. You know what I'm saying? So like. And of course they make sure that they get big reviews for them, and it's a big deal. And the only person this helped, the only people this helped, it didn't help Walmart. Like this is a flash in the pan to Walmart. You know what helped? It helped DC Comics at the expense of comic book stores. That's what's disgraceful about it.
I disagree that it was at the expense of comic book stores. Were these comic books in canon, in continuity, and what happened mattered, and were addressed later on, or was it all Elseworld stories?
I don't understand what the difference is.
Because if I had to follow Superman I gotta read this Walmart comic to know what's going on in the mythos of Superman, then it hurt the comic book store. But if it
If
didn't, then it didn't.
Swamp Thing isn't being sold in regular comic book stores, but hey, here's a Swamp Thing available in Walmart. It's the idea of you didn't need to do an exclusive for Walmart. You could have simply said, "Hey, here's a bunch of, hey, all you comic book fans, you don't need to buy this because you've
Yeah.
already read all these stories before. But we're going to put some of your favorite stories together in an anthology and sell them over here. If you want to get them, cool, but you don't need to."
Should
Right?
have been that. It should have been done that way. Yeah.
Yeah. That's my point. 100 pages, 500 pages, 2 pages, I don't care.
Okay.
It's the idea of you sold something exclusively to Walmart, and that was at the expense of comic book stores.
If Walmart was saying we'll only do this, but you gotta be
What
exclusive to
what if
us, then I
no,
would.
no, that doesn't
You
make
don't think they
sense to
did
me.
that?
No, I know how Walmart works, and they don't
Okay.
do stuff like that.
Okay.
Rather, what I see is in my opinion, my understanding of marketing, and yes, I have a 4-year degree in business with a specialty in marketing for anybody who's asking, and I've worked in the marketing sector before, and I've worked internationally, 3 different countries, actually working in marketing. Technically 4, because I also work. So that's actually 3 continents. I worked in Egypt also as a marketer for a while, although I didn't live there as a marketer. Anyway, um, what do you call it? It's the idea that you're trying to see, can we actually bypass comic book stores and just sell to Walmart? Because the shipping there would be easier. Can we try and see if we can interest them in a comic book section? You're literally trying to see, do you have a market in Walmart
Hmm.
as opposed to the comic book store? No, this is damning. And if you go to your comic book store and ask them, they will tell you this pissed them off more than anything else. So when all of a sudden DC Comics was saying, we talked about this, if not last week, then a week ago, whatever. We talked about this recently, where DC Comics was like, we're going to start shipping stuff, through other people other than Diamond, and we're going to make sure that we get an East Coast and a West Coast, and we're going to get everybody covered. We're going to start sending comic books to people right away. And 50% of the only 50%, but that's half of your sellers. Half of the comic book stores were like, screw you, DC. We don't want them. First off, the stuff that you're selling us doesn't sell. Nobody's going to come into my store to buy a copy of freaking, Daphne Detective whatever, or even like, the latest Joe Hill comic book. Nobody's going to risk their lives, their health and their well-being to come in for a DC comic book. It's
Yeah.
not going to happen. So, and on top of that, it's like you're talking about putting out Diamond out of, but meanwhile, we trust Diamond. We don't trust you, DC. They were still pissed off about that Walmart thing. You think about that. As mad as they get at Marvel for all the variant comics that they put out and all these other comics and whatnot, nothing pissed off the comic book dealers or the comic book retailers, like drug dealers, more than those Walmart exclusives. That infuriated them to no end. And that's pretty much a unanimous take. How could you go to Walmart instead of us? That was damning.
I can answer that question. It's to create new fans. That's how you would go to Walmart. The way that they did it by making them exclusive stories.
Yes.
All right. But if they were also exclusive in Elseworlds and these stories have nothing to do with the stories that you're going to be reading at the real comic book stores in the main continuity of DC, then allow it. They're just Elseworld stories. But I
can
think there's
understand.
a lot of benefit to seeing.
Mhm.
I'm just a regular casual guy. Maybe I watch the movies and I see a comic books right there. That's advertising, whether I pick it up or not. That's
Yes.
saying that comic books are relevant today, just like the magazine rack.
Yes. And I can understand it would be far worse if it was, issue number, all of the issues of Green Lantern were available at your comic book store, except for issue number 57. The only way you can get issue number 57 of Green Lantern was to go to Walmart. That would be something where it's like, you know what? I could see the comic book dealers actually saying, you know what, that's it. We're downright boycotting DC Comics from this point. If Walmart isn't going to pick you up, you better find somebody who will, because we're canceling you. That I could see them, like that's but literally, like, it doesn't have to come anywhere near, and it didn't. So I hear what you're arguing. Like I said, I'm going to repeat myself. I
Yeah.
feel like it's a 100% moot point. It doesn't matter if it's Elseworlds or not. There were new characters featured in there. That alone, different covers, different writers, different artists. It's a comic book that's exclusive that you cannot get at a comic book store. You should not do that with digital. You should not do that with Walmart, especially not Walmart or any other retailer. If you're not taking care of your comic book retailers first, you're not for comic book retailers or the comic book fans. That's the way I look at it.
Because those comic book stores have been what's keeping you up in the last 30, 40 years. Respect them. Yeah.
Yeah.
We do need to reevaluate the way that comic books get distributed. The fact that you can only get them at comic book stores hasn't been creating new fans. The way to get them into these stores needs to be revised. Like let's keep our relationship with Walmart, but let's also find a way that doesn't piss off your LCS.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, DC, Marvel. What's the other one? Boom.
Okay, Boom Studios. They put out this thing. What's their president's name? What's this? Oh, Dynamite is launching Wave 3. I didn't realize that there were two waves before this. Wave 3 of their first issues featuring 12 titles. So, and I also didn't realize that they were out of Mount Laurel, New Jersey. Wow, interesting. So, a bunch of people involved in this, like Garth Ennis, Greg Pak, Alex Ross, Cullen Bunn, a whole bunch of people together in this. Wave 3 of free comic books. So this is, how do we get this? This is through Comixology, apparently. You all these free issues coming up next is going to be Army of Darkness versus Bubba Hotep, issue number 1. That sounds interesting. Battlefields, The Night Witches, number 1. Okay. These are all issue number 1s, by the way. So issue 2, you have to buy them, but all the first issues are going to be free. Bob's Burgers, Charmed, Elvira, Mistress of the Dark, Evil Ernie, Jennifer Blood, John Carter, The End. Okay, cool. John Wick, Mighty Mouse, Pumpkinhead, and the spider actually looks interesting. I'm definitely all over that. But like Pumpkinhead, dude, if you're a horror fan, you're going way back. Like that sounds awesome. Evil Ernie is kind of cool. People loved Bob's Burgers, and like who's not going to go after John Wick? You know what I'm saying? But yeah, over here, so they got a whole bunch of issue number 1s that they're putting out for free. So that's awesome. I dig that. Boom Studios, however, there is, how long is this thing? 8 minutes and 16 seconds of this video of the president of Boom Studios. His name is Philip Sablik. AIPT reports this, and this is where I'm actually seeing the video. They put out a heartfelt, heartwarming video about, like helping out comic book stores. And all it really is, him talking to comic book stores saying, basically marketing their own stuff. That's all this is. I'm sorry. I see through this. I see 100% through this. There are 3 places in the world, 3 foundations in the world. One is home, one is work. And here's the buildup. But that third one, oh my God, it's this, that, and the other thing. And look, it's a good message, but like you could tell it's so shamelessly, it's not shamelessly, but it's subtly self-promoting. And it's like they got music playing in the background. Like that third place has to be the place where you find different from home and different from work. Oh my God, Obama, Trudeau, shut up. Shut up. Shut up with your platitudes. Tell me what you got to say. This is a 30-second message where you could just simply say, I want to say thank you to the comic book stores because you guys are awesome. When we're ready to come back, we are freaking there with you. I don't want to see Justin Trudeau with his platitude. And we are struggling. Shut up. Give me a freaking policy that works. Obama, we are awesome. And I won the Nobel Peace Prize. I also ramped up 1 war into 8 wars. Thank you. Thank you very much, you wartime dictatorial type president, you. No, I don't want to hear the freaking nonsense because nonsense sounds like static, it like squelch in my ears, solid right into my brain. Stop it. I hate that nonsense. I don't want to see Philip saying, and that's third place. And for so many of us, it's the comic book store. Yeah, we know. We freaking know. For some of us, it's our man cave. Shut up. Enough with the nonsense. Just say thank you and please support comic book stores. Like, and right away, he's just like, and you're the ones who said, if you like Batman, written by James Tynion IV, you also recommended what's the one that he did for Boom Studios? Something is killing the children. And then he just went into, regular old. If you liked this story that we do, you recommended this one also. If you like this art, you recommended this one also. Yeah. They know what they did. Acknowledge that you know what they did. Say thank you. Stop playing the stupid elevator music in the background. Like they literally went to a royalty-free site and said, "Oh, what sounds really like what's going to put a tear in their hearts?" And AIPT, of course, they want this president. Look, if President Philip, whatever, wants to come on to Comic Book University and have a conversation with me, I'll have a conversation. I'll say, "Listen, cut through the shit. What do you actually want to say?" And I'll decide, "Hey, that was solid," or "Dude, it sounds like more platitudes." Are you actually a human, or do you just have this nonsense in you? I'm the type of person, like I'm former military. I don't want to hear nonsense. You know what I'm saying? I'm old school, traditional martial arts. I trained on a hardwood floor with my feet bleeding every time that I moved until they got stronger. That's me. I don't want to hear, you know, when you rouse through the ranks, getting your belt. Have you ever been in the martial arts? No, shut up. Have you ever worked in a comic book store? No, shut up. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to hear it. Just for like, here's my rant. Every so often you got to throw in a Professor Bill rant. This is my rant. Stop with the nonsense, because not a single person in the world. If you would have heard what Carlos was saying when he was sitting there, like, I was like, "Hey, did you see the Boom Studio thing?" He's like, "Who the fuck is this guy?" He's like, "Who the fuck is this guy? Like, are you
Carlos,
kidding
who
me
runs
right
your
now?"
comic book store.
Yeah, like he's just like he owns the comic book store. Like, come on, man. And I know, and this is everybody. This is everybody I know. Come on, man. Don't tell us what you think we want to hear. Actually get to know your audience. That is what's going to make you indelible, because Boom's got some great stuff. I don't think anybody can argue that. But when you hear stuff like that, these platitudes, dude, freaking, this is where you get the old thing. Be a man. Be a man. You know what I'm saying? And if you want to take the freaking misandry out of that, just be a human. Okay? Be a human. Did you actually ask comic book stores what they want, or are you telling them what they need? Like, Jesus Christ, man. Stop the nonsense. You probably pissed off more people than you could possibly ever imagine with that nonsense. Like, you had music playing in the background while you talk about, and you did, this sounded like a freaking Pete Buttigieg campaign to me.
Hey, watch you interview him, and all of a sudden, when he starts talking that background music, maybe it comes with him.
Right? Maybe he comes with his own theme. It's like,
comes
you
with
ever
his
seen I'm
own.
Gonna Get You, Sucker?
Yeah.
You remember the end, like Chuck D was actually that dude's theme music? And it's like, are you kidding me? The Jack of Spades, Jack. Dude, I'd be the greatest guy in the world if I had freaking Public Enemy was my theme music. Oh no, wait, was that KRS-One? I think it was KRS-One. Anyway, that's what I'm talking. You're gonna look it up right now?
Yeah.
Fact check me live, man. Because, like, dude, that would be great if he actually came with the theme music and it just started playing during that. I would laugh my ass off. I would say, like, dude, you know what? Skip this interview. Come on down to freaking Toronto. I don't know if you drink or not. I don't, but I'm buying you a beer, because that would be funny. That would be hysterical.
KRS-One.
It was KRS-One. All right, cool. I fact checked myself. What do you call it? But this is like the only guy in the history of rap music who could make a rap song and the only music playing in the background is a bell. I'm saying, like, this guy's awesome.
There's
Anyway,
a song right now where a guy says "eat and that's the beat of the song. He says "eat and there's more to it, but it's weird how that just became a thing.
is it a good song? Do you like it?
I don't like anybody new, sorry, but like people like it. It's a very big song. It's
I'll listen
called
to
The
it.
Box. Okay.
I'll listen to the box. Okay.
Yeah, don't
I'll look
type
it up.
in "eater."
No, I'll try not to.
The
You never know. You never know.
the MCU is switching and rearranging the slate, and
Oh,
it's somewhat related to what you were talking about earlier of just how I'm so done with the way that our countries, America and Canada, have been handling the Kororo Monroe. What's swapping order again would be Thor: Love and Thunder with Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. Doctor Strange is now going to be March 25th. Thor is going to be February 11th of 2022. I can just expect more things to change.
yeah, but no, you said something very, very relevant, that those two movies,
Swapped order, which means
meaning,
that we used to think that all of these had effects on the next. But if those two can swap orders, then it means at least those two films were going to be completely separate from each other, which we've gotten in the past. When we watched the movie, let's say Ant-Man,
Yes.
right? And
That
then
was the
we got.
argument that I was going to make.
Oh, go ahead, make it.
No, just the idea. Like you look at the end credit scenes, they literally just found something they can use where it's like, oh, we found Bucky, but we can't show Iron Man. We can't show Tony, him. Like, what do we do? What do we do? So it was like, it was just an extra footage scene that they used from Captain America Civil War. And it's like, they just threw it in. It's like, we got to have an end credit scene. So whatever. It's
You
like,
gotta make it seem like it connects.
exactly.
Okay, yeah. It's it's okay that these movies are somewhat loosely related to each other. Maybe both Doctor Strange and both Thor 4 will reference something that happens in Shang-Chi. And as long as Shang-Chi happens before that, we're good. Also, Spider-Man, that movie will be moved from July to November 5th. That's where Doctor Strange was going to be at. So because they can't really film right now since everyone is afraid of catching the cooties. Now, my country is treating this horribly. I think if I was serious about this, I would actually lock things down and make it illegal to go outside. We'll get food trucks. Don't worry, your tax dollars will pay for it. And
You're literally stealing my idea.
But hold on a minute. There's more to my idea that you didn't say.
Oh, so you're expanding on my idea.
No,
okay,
we both have great.
LeBron.
Oh God, yeah, to your MJ. So when I think about rent and I think about things like anything monthly, let's just freeze that. It is now against the law to pay rent. $0 on your rent.
Ford actually said that, and again, conservative, and he's taken this seriously, and I'm so impressed with him right now. What do you call it? He's dropped local business rent to 75%.
That's
So,
nothing.
no,
saying.
What I mean, he's saying 75% of it gone. You're only paying 25% of the rent for the next couple months.
Thumbs down. How about no one gets anything? How about this whole world, or the country at least, stops? We're telling you to stay home. The only reason you wouldn't have to stay home to go to work is because you got bills to pay. Every possible bill, whether it's internet or phone or everything, just freeze it. If you were serious about this, if you wanted to eradicate the virus, everyone stays home full month because it can only stay in you for a couple of weeks. So you have it for a couple of weeks. You happen to spread it with your family members. They have it for a couple of weeks. At the end of the month, no one has it at all. That's how you take care of it, instead of playing this long waiting game. Seeing that, and now seeing Spider-Man having to move because they know they're not going to be able to film this summer. So they're moving it over to November. So I guess they'll start filming in November. There's a lot of they're playing the long game. Disney is. Same with Sony, I guess. They realize that this is going to go longer than we expected. And after a whole month of quarantining, and seeing my government not take it seriously, I don't care anymore. I'm starting to say, I can see.
I think this government's taking it pretty seriously.
No, we're not. We're not taking it as serious, because if it was a serious threat that you would take, you would do what you're suggesting, what I'm suggesting. Just make everything close down because the economic hit that we're going to take is going to be too severe. Let's just go and make food trucks available, like laundry and every possible thing. We get people in trucks to do it. Everyone stays home. It would be gone right away.
Yeah. That's hard to do.
So with your boy and his background music, it reminds me of Drake Maverick. We always got to get wrestling in. But people are starting to question whether or not Drake Maverick's little crying promo, I got fired from WWE, but check out my final match. It's going to be on this night, airing on this day.
Yeah, he's got 3 more matches in the contract.
Because he mentions these 3 more matches, people wonder, is he working the audience? Were people fired for real, but then they didn't fire Drake Maverick just so that they could have this believable, sympathetic, boo-hoo moment? Maybe they're taking advantage of people's emotions.
Not likely.
Well, it's worth questioning.
Yeah, no, I hear you. The way that I look, you're 100% right about that. It is worth questioning. No, but I listened to the thing last week, and I literally look at it as the way that he explained it. He's like, I'm really so this. I'm not gonna be able to say goodbye to my friends now. And it's just you know what? I do still have 3 more matches that I'm contracted to, so I'm going to be doing those. And I promise you, I'm going to put everything that I can into those matches. And if I win, then maybe I'll be with the company longer. That's probably not going to happen, but just whatever. Like, you have my word. I'm going to put my heart into those final matches, and it breaks my heart and everything. And you could tell, like, he was just hoping, like, what if they like what I'm saying right now at WWE, and what if people make a thing to keep me going, like they put in a petition, what I'm saying, they make a change.org arrangement, and it gets to Vince McMahon, and he says, oh well, because Vince McMahon doesn't care. Vince McMahon doesn't care. Fired Zack Ryder, for crying out loud. The guy who made himself popular, and that probably pissed Vince McMahon off more than anything else. You got yourself over. You made yourself popular instead of me making you popular. No. I want control of your internet site. You're going to give it to me? Awesome. And we've seen this is the bullying tactic that Vince McMahon has done forever. Back when Sergeant Slaughter first got that deal with G.I. Joe, he's like, yeah, listen, the only reason you got that is because you're with me. So I want 5% of what you make. And I'm only asking 5%. Sergeant Slaughter's like, literally, F you. Full stop. F you. It's like, you made me? I even took my name. Like, they like to patent names nowadays. He had that name from AWA. He had the gimmick. He had everything from AWA. He did that stuff over there. It was probably, if it wasn't Sergeant Slaughter who did that name himself, it was Vern Gagne who did it, or somebody in that, that retinue who did it. But Slaughter did that stuff. Freaking Vince had nothing to do with that. You bought his contract, kind of. You convinced him to come over to you back in the Territory War days. Like, come on, man. He's always done stuff like that. And Slaughter said F you, and he quit. He wasn't with the company, and he wasn't allowed to be back with the company until much later, when Vince literally looked at it and was like, we need to take advantage of this Iraq war thing. Hey, what if Sergeant Slaughter actually was an Iraqi sympathizer? Like, we'll make him an absolute heel right now. And it's like, yeah, bud, sure. Anyway, hey, he headlined a freaking WrestleMania, so he got something out of it.
Yeah.
Vince McMahon does not know what's good for business. Bottom line, he simply doesn't know what's good for business, and he doesn't care. It's his show, and that's what all it comes down to. So He's not going to give Drake Maverick a chance. Drake Maverick really is gone. He's got these 3 matches left he's going to do. He's going to put his heart into it because Drake actually cares about people. And I was in Walmart yesterday, and I bought this guy, my probe droid from Star Wars, from Empire Strikes Back. And I was looking on the shelves, the wrestling toys, and I was like, ooh, this is Drake Maverick. And I was thinking about the promo. I was like, I don't know if he'll actually get a percentage of this or whatever, but maybe I should just, get this toy because Drake was, really cool. It's like, nah, because it's really WWE that's going to get that money. You know what I'm saying?
A large chunk of it, yeah. But something like pro wrestling, there's a website, Pro Wrestling Tees, and they give a large chunk to their wrestlers rather than what the WWE cut is, which I don't know for sure what it is, but I'm sure you negotiate it. I'm sure John Cena got a bigger chunk than the rest of the guys did. Yeah. Not that he doesn't deserve it. John Cena's a hardworking man who put the company on his back. It's not his fault they never turned him into a villain.
And it is his fault, though, from a lot of people who said that, he went out of his way to screw people over. You ever heard the MVP story?
What happened with that?
MVP did an article, an interview with somebody, and he said at one point, yeah, you gotta keep the hustle, and you gotta maintain
that
loyalty.
Was JTG.
Oh, that was JTG. Okay, different initials. Anyway, so you do know the story. And then John Cena got wind of it, and he comes back, and he's taking a shower or he's taking a dump, something, and Cena comes over and he's just like, wait a second. So you said, that's my line. He's like, yeah, I didn't even realize what I was saying. He's like, yeah. Listen, bud, you know that you're probably not going to get the hat deal now. You got to lose the hat deal, because he was going to get this hat that was going to come out and it was going to be a big deal. And he's expecting he's going to get some money from it. He's like, your hat thing's not going to happen now because of that. You gotta pay. And it's like, for John Cena to decide who gets punished and how they get punished. That's just like, it tells you a lot about.
He was powerful, even 2006.
That's like the Triple H shovel, comments and whatnot.
Yeah.
That's the thing. These people couldn't get this kind of power without Vince McMahon allowing it. Let's just be realistic. So, it is what it is, man.
So I have a JTG story where I wrestled a match, and it was the worst match I've ever wrestled in my life. And he was there, and he was giving advice to people after the match. So he talks to like it was a tag match, and he talks to the two dudes that were opposing. He talks to the other guy, and he goes to me and he's like, "So you're new at this, right?" I'm like, "Yeah," and like, he was very sincere and just gave me the quick, "Yeah, okay, you'll learn from this, you'll get better." And I'm like, "Okay, good." He didn't bury me, but that same day I asked him about his book where he also wrote a story about a time where to the he went to wrestling's court because he dated a wrestler's woman, and I'm like, okay, so you never actually
Was
mentioned the
Undertaker
woman.
prevailing?
Yeah,
He was
Undertaker was going to be,
presiding?
but it happened to be the same day that Chris Benoit had his thing, so the court was canceled.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So that I'm like, okay, so who was the wrestler that that's woman? Because you never actually say so in the book. And he answered the question, and I'm like, hey, I got inside knowledge. That's great.
You're not going anywhere when this thing's over.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Wow. Okay. Wow. Damn. Damn. All right. So Chillmonger's got the skinny. Everybody, and you know what? If you go to Chillmonger's channel, you can demand that he gives you the answer in private some way, somehow.
I talk about myself more here on this podcast than I've ever brought up on the show that I do or the channel that I do on Chillmonger. Like
But
I was
with enough
talking
pressure, I'm trying to get people to go to your freaking website or
yes,
to your channel.
That is on YouTube, Chillmonger, where I asked 33 burning questions as I'm doing usually. It was the third time I've done so. You want to do one of these with me next week, maybe Thursday or Friday? I don't know which.
I was in the chat with you on the third one that you did, where you asked, and I was like, "Hell's yes!" And bring Second Street Marvel in also. So maybe we can get all three of us to do some 33 burning questions. Maybe break it up into a couple different parts if you need to, because you know me and my long-winded answers.
I'll just make true or falses for you. I'll be like, Captain America, good or bad, true or false. Easy.
Good or bad, true or false? Good.
Man, I had something about Kim Possible which I wanted to bring up. I'll keep this one brief though. But I feel like since Disney owns that character, since she is a woman and she's successful and she's original, you got to make a comic book story where she joins the universe she was part of and bring her into the Marvel comic book universe and just say, hey, this is Kim Possible. You'd bring in Ron, you'd bring in Rufus, slowly but surely. Shigo and Dr. Draken was behind all of it, and you can integrate them. But I just mean, give me like a 21-year-old Kim Possible so that all of the TV show stuff we saw with her is canon, but bring her into Marvel's universe. And you might have a good chance because I noticed a trend of not new characters. They're kind of like legacy characters who are being used, with the exception of America Chavez, with the exception of Wave and Arrow and them. But for the most part, it's like Miles Morales and Nova and semi-new characters being introduced. I mean, you got one. You don't got to worry about the royalties and all that stuff because that's all they really care about. You got Kim Possible. Put her in your comic books. People already like her. You might get new fans who were already fans of Kim Possible when they were younger. Now they got disposable income and they'll see the article that Kim Possible is part of the Marvel universe. I think there's something to this. There's money to be made over there with Kim Possible. And if it fails, it fails. You just ignore her like you do Cloak and Dagger and all those other people whenever there's a major.
It's harsh. It's true, but it's harsh.
Every time there's a major event, where is Mockingbird? You know what I mean?
Agreed. And then we can actually get like Spy versus Spy, Kim Possible versus Black Widow.
Black Widow.
Like that's the obvious choice. Let's see these two black-laden redhead women going up against each other and trying to, get the MacGuffin before the other one does. Hell's yes. I'd watch that. I'd read that. All right, so I guess that's about it. Nice long one for you guys. Hour and a half. Not too shabby.
That's what she said.
She said that about you. Not too shabby.
No, she said it was a nice long one. Not too bad.
Gotcha. Nice. Okay. Cool. I get better compliments. But anyway. All right. So we'll see you guys next week. And actually, honestly, let's arrange afterwards, you and me doing the 30 burning questions on your channel. So you guys, at the very least, come on over to see me on Chillmonger's channel, and then stay and see the Chillmonger man himself. He's not even a man. Is he a man? Is he a myth? Is he a legend? What is he? Find out. Chillmonger's channel. And we'll talk to you guys later. Professor Bill and Chillmonger. Professor Bill, Comic Book University.
Class dismissed.
No, that one sucked.
So it was in sync when I was saying it with you, but there is a lag. So I should probably say it before you say it. Are we still recording? You didn't turn it off yet. Oh, you asshole.